Let's update on the Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra this morning as the 90 top American executives met with her this morning at the Government House to discuss business and investment opportunities in Thailand, Kun Ongan.
Yes.
Also, these top American executives are members of the Asean US Business Council and they represent big corporations, for example, from Coca-Cola, Microsoft, General Electric, Ford, AT&T, Citibank, Hewlett-Packard, Dow Chemical, Chevron, and Dell Computer, Kun Ongan.
Well, actually, Kun Yingluck today has two schedules. One in the morning to meet with all the American companies, that, like you've mentioned just now. And in the afternoon, the top American executives are scheduled to hold a meeting with the Thai industry minister, that is Mom Ratchawongpong Sawatdiwat. And later in the afternoon, for Kun Yingluck herself, she will be meeting a representative from China. Mr. Lee Chun-jin, the head of China Investment Corporation, which manages about $400 billion of China's foreign exchange reserves, will also have a meeting appointment with Kun Yingluck this afternoon. He will be discussing investment opportunities for China's sovereign wealth fund. And in the late afternoon, Mr. Lee Chun-jin is also scheduled to meet with the Thai industry minister. So basically the same scheduling as the US in the morning.
And the Chinese in the afternoon. Now we have to wait and see how Kun Yingluck's going to react. So maybe it's...
Right, the two superpowers, they all come to Thailand and this is going to be quite a discussion.
That's what she said. Everything is under control.
Okay.
Well, now let's update on Singapore. According to Ronnie Wong, president of the Association of Electronic Industries in Singapore, AEIS, say that despite Thailand's last year's flood crisis, Singaporean investors are still interested in Thailand's electronics and auto parts industries. No Singaporean firms have moved out of the country after last year's floods, and one of the reasons is that Thailand has a better working culture than rivals like Vietnam and the Philippines. Wong said Thai laborers work harder and do not go on strike when they have problems with their employers. The EIS comprises 200 firms, with 10% of them auto parts producers, with plants in China, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand. It believes that the kingdom is still attractive to foreign investors and that once the ASEAN Economic Community or AEC is set up in 2015, Thailand's geographical positioning will make it a trading hub. He said political problems and lack in English ability are not problems for investment in Thailand. The president added that Thailand will strengthen its position after 2015, especially since the electronics industry can cash in on the free flow of skilled labor. Manpower is key to this business, and it will be a strong point to lure foreign investors, especially large-scale firms. Similarly, once the AEC is set up, Thailand can also capitalize on labor from neighboring countries, plus a market of 600 million people, which is half the size of China, will be a new magnet for investment. Wong added that Thailand would not lose out on opportunities if the minimum daily wage is set at 300 baht in April, because compared to Malaysia, this rate is still better. Malaysia plans to raise its minimum monthly wage from 650 ringgit to 800 ringgit, or roughly 6,500 to 8,000 Thai baht. However, he said that some nations might lose out if they do not adjust to the new changing environment. Wong said Vietnam was a good example because it still does not have a clear investment policy, especially in terms of land purchase, which is bringing down investors' confidence. Hideki Tsukamoto, president of Sodic Thailand, a producer of machine tools, also agreed that Thailand is good for investment. Even though 95% of the Sodic plants was damaged by the last year's floodings and cost 2 billion baht, the firm is going to ahead with production in Navanakon Industrial Estate. In addition, Sodic has invested 900 billion baht in building another plant nearby, which should be completed by September. Tsukamoto said the damaged plant is already at 60% production capacity and it should return to 100% by April. He also believes Thailand will play a key role in the region once the AEC is established.
Talking about the investment attractiveness, not just Thailand is a very popular destination, but also our neighbor Myanmar. And the movement, according to the AP News, Myanmar State Oil and Gas Company has signed a contract of exploration with a Chinese Myanmar joint venture. The state-run Khaimon newspaper reported Sunday that the contract between Myanmar Oil and Gas Enterprise and Myanmar private company A Myan Kine Co Limited, working with China's EPI Holdings Limited, covers an onshore exploration block in the Magway region of central Myanmar. The production sharing contract signed on Friday is the first for onshore exploration involving a foreign oil company since an elected but military-backed government came to power last year. Myanmar is conducting exploration activities with local and foreign companies in 49 onshore blocks and 26 offshore blocks. Natural gas from the two huge offshore fields is Myanmar's largest export earner.
But now let's update on IT and jobs, as cloud computing is expected to create over 2 million jobs by 2015 in India. The study by International Data Center, or ITC, commissioned by Microsoft, said more than 2 million jobs each will be generated in the communications and media and manufacturing sectors, followed by banking at over 1.4 million. 15% of total jobs created by cloud computing across the world, followed by manufacturing and banking sector. When pointing to the strong linkage between cloud innovation and entrepreneurship, the study estimates that revenues from cloud innovation could reach $1.1 trillion per year by 2015. Combined with cloud efficiencies, this will drive significant organizational reinvestment and job growth. Cloud computing is already changing how IT delivers economic value to countries, cities, industries, and businesses. IDC estimates that in 2011 alone, IT cloud services helped businesses around the world generate more than $600 billion in revenue and 1.5 million new jobs. The study also indicates that countries investing in key cloud infrastructure will experience greater job growth. The factors determining the number of jobs that might be created in a particular country include project's level of spending on IT, degree of automation, workforce size, among others.
Coming round to China, the country's economic growth slowed in the first 2 months of the year, with both exports and domestic demand moderating faster than analysts had forecast, building the case for the Premier Wen Jiabao to accelerate the stimulus measures. The world's second largest economy had the biggest trade deficit last month in at least 22 years, the weakest January-February factory production gained since 2009, and retail sales below the median economist estimate. Government data show March 9 and 10. Inflation and lending growth also showed, leaving one with more scope to loosen credit. The nation may cut interest rates for the first time since 2008, or lower banks' required reserve a third time in 4 months as policymakers across Asia balance preserving firepower for deterioration in Europe's debt crisis with controlling inflation. India last week unexpectedly reduced its cash reserve ratio, while Australia's central bank said it has scope to lower rates, and South Korea and Indonesia held off from stimulus. Eswar Prasad, a former China division chief at the International Monetary Fund, who is now a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution in Washington, said across Asia the focus of macroeconomic policies is shifting towards supporting growth. Many economies are holding some policy room in reserve as they brace for possible spillovers from external shocks. Chu Xiaochuan, governor of China's central bank, speaks today at 10 a.m. local time in Beijing in a press conference as a part of annual gathering of the country's legislature. One who will close the annual National People's Congress this week, may slow the pace of yuan gains as policymakers seek to aid exporters taking hits from Europe's sovereign debt turmoil. The government will keep the exchange rate basically stable at an appropriate and balanced level, one said in the opening speech to the National People's Congress on March the 5th. He announced an economic growth target for 2012 of 7.5%, the first time below 8% since 2004.